It's December 5th, and this is a meeting of the Budget Committee, and we're going to be talking about the conservation budget and also the agencies that we provide support to in surrounding communities and the local communities. Wow. We can do the Pledge of Allegiance. Steve, could you lead to that?
Sure can. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we jump into this, I just want to recognize Sarah Silk, who passed away yesterday, I believe. She was a long-standing member of the Wolfeboro Community. I believe she served on the Budget Committee, the Board of Selectmen. She was a current member of the Zoning Board of Adjustment. She did a lot to protect us from hazardous waste. She ran the hazardous waste station up by the transfer station, and she'll be missed by a lot of people in the community. If we can just do a moment of silence, you can stay seated, but just a moment of silence for Sarah, I appreciate it. And thank you, everyone. Okay, Mr. Town Manager, do you have anything for us before we start?
I do not.
Okay, let's get started on the agencies. Life Ministries Food Pantry, please.
Where would you like me?
Recommend Town Manager,
Thanks.
while you've got some airtime here with the community TV, can you just tell us a little bit about your organization so the folks will also know?
I'm Bill Connors, president of the Life Ministries Food Pantry. The Pantry is a nonprofit organization that's been serving the community since 1985. It's overseen by a 15-member board of directors representing the 7 founding churches and several at-large representatives, and operated by about 73 volunteers. Our mission is to provide access to food security to qualified members of the community with dignity and respect. We provide sufficient food to prepare 12 meals per week for each family member, and we do that operating on a drive-through basis on the first and third Wednesdays of every month.
And where was the drive-through over here, the Episcopal Church?
It's at the Episcopal Church, in the back of the outreach building.
And if anyone should, how do they qualify? Do they call you, or do they just show up, or how does that work?
They can show up on the first or third Wednesday of the month, and they'll receive an application. It's basically based on receipt of public assistance or certain income guidelines that follow the U.S. Department of Agriculture guidelines.
And are these all Wolfeboro residents?
No.
What other communities do you serve?
We draw people from as many as 24 to 26 communities on a given year.
And the churches that you're associated with, are they part of those communities that work with you?
The churches are from Alton, St. Catherine Drexel, several of the Wolfeboro churches, and several Tuftonboro and Milton Village churches.
Okay, and you're requesting, you see, 15,000 level funding from last year?
Right.
Does anybody have any questions? Any more questions? Thank you for coming in, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, to the Children's Center, please. Hi, how are you this evening?
I'm good.
Want to tell us a little bit what you folks do and how things are going?
Absolutely. Terry Ann Cox, the Executive Director of the Children's Center here in Wolfeboro. We just celebrated our 50th anniversary this year as we opened our doors in September of 1974 and continue to serve families in the Wolfeboro town, but also 11 surrounding towns. We are a child care and early education facility. We presently support a little over 200 children, 179 families, and our mission is to enhance the well-being of families in our communities by providing early childhood care and education, as well as cooperating with a lot of the agencies serving the needs of children. We this year are requesting level funding of $10,000 to support the provisions specifically of the Wolfeboro families. And over the course of the last 2 years, I've shifted a little bit of our description of the ask. It used to be solely focused on families in need who could not pay at all. Now what we have re-educated the community on is that we actually, since our founding days, we subsidize every family. So a parent that's working full-time that needs care for their infant, we are subsidizing about $5,000 a year to ensure that we keep the total cost affordable for that family. Our costs have continued to go up, particularly with payroll and trying to retain and pay hardworking teachers, but we have not recently passed that cost onto our families and tried to really maintain affordability. That's why we're a nonprofit, that's why we continue to look for support, and that's why we continue to fundraise every year. I think that outlined in the ask letter too, just some specifics. 45% of our families are from Wolfeboro, which are 81 families presently. But the remaining half, I would just suggest they come to the Children's Center because they work in town and they need that affordable child care to be able to support the economy.
Thank you. Any questions for the Children's Center over here? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Grant V&A.
Good evening. My name is Julie Stone. I'm representing Granite B&A this evening as the Chief Strategy Officer. Granite B&A is a home care, hospice, and community wellness organization that serves 75 communities, including Wolfeboro. We have 3 offices, one in Wolfeboro, one in Laconia, and one in Concord. We employ a little over 400 employees and serve more than 10,000 patients a year. In the town of Wolfeboro last year, we provided more than 3,000 nursing visits, and those visits are for 3 different programs. The first being home care, so for those individuals who are recovering from an illness, medical event, or surgery who need skilled nursing services or therapy services in the home in order to recover, we provide services to those individuals. We also provide hospice to those who are living with a chronic or life-limiting illness and who are at end of life. We provide skilled nursing services to them as well. And additionally, we have medical social workers and chaplains that are providing care in the home. We also have a hospice house in Concord on the grounds of Concord Hospital. For those patients who cannot be at home at end of life, they are going to our hospice house where we have 24-hour care. And then lastly, in the town of Wolfeboro, we provide some wellness clinics, like foot care clinics that are free, as well as some education classes to help seniors age well in place in their own homes, which is where they want to be. The request that we have is level funding from the last 2 years.
Several programs you mentioned, is there a phone number they could call for the senior programs? They can get hold of you? You know what that is? Could you give that out to us, just so they can hear it? Do you have that, or?
Well, that's a great question, the one that we give out. So yes, I can. It's 224-4093. And there's also, that's a 603 number.
Okay.
And there's also an 800 number, which is 800-924-8620. And all of that information is also available on our website, like coming classes and things that are happening in Wolfeboro.
Okay. You know, when you go to people's houses, there's no charge, right? It's all...
So the major payer for the services that we provide is Medicare. That's about 70% of our total business. For home care, it's only about 50% of our business. And that 50% of our business is paid for by Medicare. The rest is either Medicaid, uninsured or underinsured individuals. So that means, as a nonprofit, we will deliver care regardless of someone's ability to pay, and that's really why we come to towns to ask for their support.
Okay. Any other questions? No. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Meals on Wheels.
Hi. Good evening. My name is Kurt Rossler. I'm the president of the board of directors of the Wolfeboro Area Meals on Wheels. And we've been delivering hot, nutritious meals since 1975 to Wolfeboro, Tuftonboro, and Brookfield. We delivered over 14,000 meals last year, with a little over 10,600 being here in Wolfeboro, which accounts for 75% of the meals we serve. We serve meals, deliver meals 5 days a week, every week of the year. The meals are prepared at Huggins Hospital and then delivered by volunteers to the clients. We are asking for level funding of $7,500 this year.
And how about a phone number if someone wants to sign up for the program? We have one of those days?
603-515-2043.
Thank you. Any questions for Meals on Wheels? No. Thank you for coming in, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, starting point.
Good evening, I'm Rita Stoddard from Starting Point. Starting Point provides free and confidential services to victims of domestic and sexual violence, stalking, and human trafficking here in Carroll County. Our services include a 24/7, 365-day-a-year hotline at 1-800-336-3795. And we have emergency shelter. We can house up to 13 people, that's 5 adults and as many as 8 children. It's almost always full. And if it is full and a resident of Carroll County requires care, then we provide overnight in a hotel situation. We also have transitional housing program, financial literacy program, financial assistance, court and hospital advocacy. So when the court calls or the hospital calls, we dispatch an advocate 24/7. We also have a LAP program, which is the lethal assessment program that we use with our local police. So when they go on a call, domestic call, they call us and we dispatch or talk with the victim on scene. Last year we served 42 residents here in Wolfeboro. We're asking based on a 3-year average, so the 3-year average is 36, and we're asking 6901 this year.
Okay, we have it down as, what do you have, Jim? I have it as, I'm looking for this correctly, 7,357.
Yeah, that's what I have. 7357.
Did I get the wrong number?
That's what got moved forward by the Board of Selectmen.
Okay.
Okay. You'll take the extra money, I take
I'll
it?
take that. We need it.
I know, you guys do a great job, everyone does a great job. You have a formula that you base on how many clients that you have, right? I think over the years you've had a formula that does this.
The formula that we use
Yeah, it's the same formula as previous years?
Yeah, it's just, I'm having a little trouble hearing you,
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's based on a base amount for each town, like to help us with our crisis line, like a 911 number, and then it's based on the number of clients we serve in each town.
Okay. So you go to all the Carroll County communities and asking for financial support?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? What's starting point? Thank you for coming in, appreciate it. Okay, caregivers of Southern Carroll County.
Hi, my name is Chris Rose, and I represent the caregivers of Southern Carroll County. We drive people to their medical appointments in the towns of Alton, Ossipee, Tuftonboro, and Wolfeboro. This organization was founded back in 1987 by women from the churches in Wolfeboro who saw the need. We are asking for $4,000, which is a reduced number for the last 3 years because of COVID. And although this year we have spent over let me see, I got the number from the treasurer this afternoon, $5,700 just on driving Wolfeboro residents. We not only drive seniors, we drive children with their parents to a dentist in Concord. If you need a colonoscopy, they always say you have to have somebody drive you. And many of us don't, everybody's working, and we will take you to the hospital, wait, and bring you home. Many of our trips are more than 50 miles, and for that we pay the driver 55 cents a mile. But now as the gas price is going down, we may go back to our original of 45 cents a mile.
It's all volunteers, pretty much?
All volunteers. 90% of our expenses are for reimbursing the drivers. And not all of our drivers expect to be reimbursed.
It's nice they donate their time and money, they cost. Okay, how about a phone number in case folks want to get a hold of you?
Phone number is 569-6780.
Okay.
I also have an alternate mode of being here. We need drivers. We have no drivers from Ossipee. So there are times when we've had to take a driver from Alton, go up to Ossipee, drive up to Conway, or Dartmouth, or Portsmouth. And that's what's putting a lot into our expenses.
Right.
I have business cards. If anyone here has got a couple of hours any day, we don't expect you to give us a schedule to say, I'll do it this day. When a volunteer calls you, you can always say no.
Okay. Any questions?
I'll take one of your cards.
Yeah. Good, Steve. Thank you.
You're not going to use your truck, are you?
You can.
That's my vehicle.
You can. My husband is no longer driving at the moment, but we've always used our Honda Ridgeliner. And we have women who drive a Mini Cooper, and the women love riding in the winter. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in, appreciate it. Okay, 68 hours of hunger.
Good evening. I'd like to thank you for involving me in the budget process. I'm Jan Brooks from 68 Hours of Hunger, and I'm one of 3 program coordinators. Let me just get myself organized here. Our mission is to confront the approximately 68 hours of hunger that some children experience between the lunch they receive at school on Friday and the breakfast that they receive on Monday morning. Our vision is to provide weekend food for an average of 145 preschool through grade 6 children each week who are at risk of food insecurity. Due to the state of the economy and related costs, families of preschool through grade 6 children living within the Governor Wentworth Regional School District who are at risk of food insecurity look to and depend upon their child's bag of food that they receive each weekend. We serve the children in Wolfeboro, Brookfield, that's inclusive of Carpenter and Crescent Lake, Tuftonboro, Middleton, Ossipee, Effingham, and Ossipee Head Start and Ossipee Crossings. Each child receives a bag of food on Friday afternoon that consists of 3 dinners, 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches, and snacks. Our organization does not delineate where a child lives. Rather, our goal is to ensure that all children who are at risk of food insecurity receive food for the weekends. Therefore, our overall figures represent all children who receive food each weekend, not by school. Our organization is run solely by 45 to 50 volunteers which consist of retirees, staff from the Governor Wentworth Regional School District, and students from Brewster Academy. Our volunteers are involved with such tasks as purchasing, picking up, bagging, and distributing food, fundraising, keeping communities informed, and documenting the financial expenditures and donations each month. The All Saints Episcopal Church in Wolfeboro has provided us with a classroom for our storage and a place where we can pack and have the food bags picked up for delivery to the elementary schools. The Governor Wentworth Regional School District continues to be very supportive to our program by providing buses and their drivers who pick up the weekly food bags and deliver them to the elementary schools, and involving an outreach counselor from Ostaby School, who is the liaison between our organization and all the elementary schools. She's in close contact with the school's counselors, who in turn gain information pertaining to the students who are at risk of food insecurity from administrators, teachers, and health providers in order to pass that information on to us. The cost of a weekend bag of food is $16 per child. This year we had an average of 146 students. That's $16 a bag. 37 weeks is $83,472. We also have a summer program for 5 weeks, and the summer program totals gives a total of $86,112. Our local communities are very supportive financially as well as publicly. We hold an annual appeals drive, a major fundraiser, and are supported by local businesses that our communities participate in, sponsor, or provide financial support. Our financial obligations are solely for the purchase of food, bags, and bins, with 5% of our monthly proceeds that are earmarked for the administrative costs of the executive director of the program. Our chapter of End 68 Hours of Hunger has worked hard to provide children in need. We are continually reflecting on what we do and what we can do better. I don't know if you remember last year we had a question about what do we do with children over the summer months. Well, that was something that we wanted to attempt this summer and see what we could do. So, over the last year, we provided weekend food for 141 children during the school year. And we had an average over the past years of 33 children who attended summer school. We've known the need for providing children with food for the weekends during the summer has been much larger than the population of children that actually attended summer school where they would pick up the bags of food. As a result, this summer, we launched a new offering by reaching out and providing bins of bags at various locations in the Governor Wentworth School District towns. Town libraries, schools, churches, and individual businesses offered to be a pickup site over the summer months. Having the various locations increased the number of students we were able to reach from 33 students during the summer to 75. We plan to continue the additional site locations, and we thank all those who joined in partnership with us over the summer months. In Wolfeboro, that included Duran Insurance, the Wolfeboro Public Library, and the First Congregational Church of Wolfeboro. During 2023-24, Wolfeboro had 18 students during the school year, which was a total of $288 per week. For 37 weeks, it was $10,656. Then there were 5 students over the summer months for $80. For 5 weeks, it was $400. So during the 2024 school year, it was $11,056 for the cost of Wolfeboro that we covered. To continue to provide the bags of food for children who are at risk of food insecurity, we are asking the town for a level funding of $5,000 for the upcoming budget. Thank you for your support over the years. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jan. Is there any phone number you want to give out to the folks, just if they want to sign the kids up, or is that?
Actually, we go through our liaison, the OSPRE counselor.
Okay.
Because we don't know any of the children. It's all, yeah. so she would do that. But you can have my phone number if you want to contact me.
What if you'd like to do? I'm just thinking about the folks out there.
Yeah, why don't, do you mind, 603-856-1019.
Thank you. Any questions for N 68 hours to 100? Thank you for coming in.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Okay, let me see here. Cost of New Hampshire. Good evening.
I'm Francie Mitchell. I'm a Catholic guardian ad litem, and I'm filling in for Tara Bergeron this evening. CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocate. We are volunteers, all of us, the ones that work with the children anyway, the ones that work in the court. What we do is we meet with the parents, and we meet with the children at least once a month. We write reports. We advocate when needed. For example, if we feel something is not going well for a child and we think it needs to go out, should offer more, we talk to them. We have lawyers that help us so that we don't make legal mistakes. There are 7 children in Wolfeboro who have been removed from their homes. 5 of those children, Wolfeboro residents, are in foster care here in this town. 2 of them are in another town. It takes 3 CASAs at $7,500 a year for these children from this town. And we are asking for the level $2,000 funding. Any questions?
No. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you
Appreciate it.
very much.
Okay, let me see. Lakes Region VNA.
Good evening. My name is Jenny. I am the Finance Director at Lakes Region VNA and Hospice, and I am honored to be here. Thank you very much for having us. Like some other agencies who are here today, Lakes Region VNA is a nonprofit organization. For more than 100 years, we have been committed to serving the Lakes Region community, serving more than 40 towns, and providing more than 30,000 visits per year. Our organization provided Wolfeboro with almost 1,200 visits in the last year. We also established a dedicated flu clinic in Wolfeboro, which was held on the 1st of November. And also for the first time, we ordered high-dose flu shots for immunocompromised and elderly patients so that they had the choice. Our services include skilled nursing, home health aides, physical, occupational, speech therapy, bereavement and chaplain services, and social work. Our Medicare-rated 5-star hospice care is provided both in the home and in long-term facilities. We offer our services to patients across the age spectrum, from infants to the elderly. We strive to consistently ensure home care is provided within 24 to 48 hours referral, and typically within the same day for hospice. We're asking for $5,000 today, and your contribution supports our ability to uphold our commitment to provide care, regardless of the patient's ability to pay. It also supports our commitment to community wellness programming like immunization clinics, movement classes, and blood pressure clinics. Your contribution supports our commitment to education, both our scholarship programming for local graduating high school seniors who are pursuing clinical careers, and our internal tuition reimbursement program that allows our staff to pursue professional development. We were privileged this year to offer one of those scholarships to a graduating senior at Kingswood High School.
What makes you different from Granite VNA?
We're similar. We offer similar services in home care and hospice. What makes us different, we from the leadership team believe that patient care comes first. We take care of our patients, they'll be able to be more involved in the community. So our ties to the community and our patients, our dedication.
Because I noticed this year was your first year for you folks to ask for $5,000, and I'm just trying to understand the difference between Granite and you folks as far as services.
Yeah, as far as services, our payer mixes are very likely similar, where Medicare is the biggest one. We're both offering home care and hospice. There is an overlap of services that we both provide, and there is an overlap of service towns.
Other towns you go and ask money for?
We do.
How about around here?
We have been to, I don't have a list, but there are about 24 towns that we request funding from in our service towns.
Tuftonboro, Ossipee.
Tuftonboro, not Ossipee. There are a lot of towns that we haven't asked.
Okay.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Good question that John asked as far as the duplication of Granite and Lakes Region. And I guess my question is, when was the Lakes Region started? What was the reasoning behind it? I'd be curious to know that, how you came about.
So we started in 1923, and as for the origin, we saw that there was a need for patients who were aging at home or who needed care provided to them in their home outside of a hospital or doctor's office setting, and established an agency to help support that.
Do you have different geographical areas that you cover between you and Granite? Is the Lakes region a smaller geographical area? And how is that determined if you have an individual that needs services? Is it just whoever calls or makes the call, that whether they're calling Lakes region or they're calling Granite?
So patients have a choice, and in the Lakes region, there are a lot of choices. What happens is if a patient is having knee replacement, they will work with their orthopedic doctor to have the surgery, and then the doctor's office helps set up the care for after. And the patient can either choose us, or we have an established relationship with a provider, and they would refer to us. And then once we get the phone call, we go out and we assess the patient, and then we make a plan of care along with their doctor to treat them. And most of our care is acute. It's more of a specific recovering at home from an illness or from a joint replacement, something like that. So it's an individualized plan of care that we work with the patient's doctor.
And the geographical area?
So our area is smaller than Granite. We don't go as far south as they do, and I think that they serve about 35 more towns than we do. Our census is smaller, our service area is a little bit smaller, but there are the overlaps.
You think because you're a little bit smaller, seems like, than Granite, you do a better job if people like you more?
I don't know if people like us more. We obviously would like to think that. But we are the only 5-star rated hospice agency in the state of New Hampshire.
John, I have a
Yes,
question
sir.
also. I just, for Jim, I have I'm a little confused on this. The run sheet, 2024 actuals has $5,000 listed. Is that not true? Would this be the first year coming up that so we did not allocate money in 2024? We did?
We did not.
Oh, that's
That is
correct, okay.
We did not.
All right, so that's why the 100%. And the only other thing I have to say is that my book didn't have any financials in it. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but and all of the agencies we allocate money to normally give us a run of their financials, which would be revenue and expenses, and then a lot of them include assets and liabilities. And some of them give us a copy of their audit, but I personally I don't care to see that. But I think what we'd like to do is to make sure that the organization is doing well enough to, if you see one that's going broke, then you have to question, why are we giving them money, But so that's why that would be the reason for having financials. All of the nonprofits do that. So.
I do appreciate that. I didn't realize we hadn't seen that.
That's fine. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I suggest, not necessarily making a motion, but I would suggest that maybe Lakes Region Visiting Nurse Association provide that profit item.
The numbers you think for a revisit, or?
Yeah, I think this is a revisit item.
I'm good with that.
So I'd like to make a motion to revisit this pursuant to you providing us with the financials that you talked about. If there are any questions about what financials you're talking about, we can discuss that.
I'll second it.
Provide that.
Okay.
Could you add prior to December 16th to your motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we meet them.
Do you understand what we're asking for?
I do.
Okay, and send it to the town manager if you would, that'd be great.
So we have I don't know how quick, our revisit items date is December 19th, which would be a few weeks out. And we actually have a couple more meetings after that before we go to our public hearing, but so December 19th would be I guess the goal, and then we have a couple meetings after that if you have a difficult time putting this together.
Okay. We can send them out tomorrow, and we can be available for December 19th as well.
Could we get a current certificate of good standing?
That might be, man, I'm not sure if it's in the book or not.
I'm not fully understanding what's in the book.
Yeah, there is just a IRS document.
Some of it looked pretty dated, but I was looking at it about the same.
You say you got one, Jim? No.
Just the IRS.
Doesn't look current.
Their information.
I don't think we need to go overboard. I'd say a P&L and a balance sheet is sufficient.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got a motion to ask Lakes Region V&A to provide their financials. And I'd ask the motion to be by December 16th. Does anyone have a problem with that? That gives us a couple
You don't
days.
seem to have a problem with that, right? Okay. That's good then.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much for coming. Okay, let me see here. Children Unlimited, please. Hi.
Good evening, and thank you again for having us and all your support in the past years. Listening to everyone speak, it just really amplifies for me how we all work together as a community, and even being in this room, the library allows us to use this space to have one of our playgroups here. So I just want to say thank you so much for your time and your consideration. We really appreciate it. My name is Kathy Livingston. I'm the director of the Family Connections Resource Center at Children Unlimited. We're located in Conway, and we're really fortunate to be part of Children Unlimited, where there's a preschool, a child care, and a children's clinic, where children can have occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy, and also mental health services. So if a family's coming in to bring their child for preschool, then they could also have an appointment with an occupational therapist or get speech or meet with someone from the resource center. So that kind of takes away some of those barriers of time, expense, and transportation. We are the Family Resource Center of Carroll County, so we work with all the towns within the county. Each county in the state of New Hampshire has their own Family Resource Center, and that's because we're the ones that know the resources closest to our community and are able to help our families. But it also, we work as a network together, so if a family lives in Wolfeboro and then moves to Nashua, we're able to make that connection too. So we really try to listen to families and see what the needs are, and then we determine what our programs are going to be. Right now, we're hearing a lot from families that they're stressed, they're anxious, they're worried about how they're going to pay their electric bill, how they're going to pay their rent, how they're going to access some concrete support such as diapers. So some of the things that we've initiated within our Comprehensive Family Support and Services Program is having diaper depots throughout Carroll County where families can come and just pick up diapers without having to fill out an application or give any financial information. And so we have one at White Mountain Community Health Center in Conway, OSIP Concerned Citizens, and then we'll also bring diapers to our playgroups too. We're part of the state pilot program because the state of New Hampshire is really hearing us to say families are struggling. Diapers are really expensive. Wipes are expensive. If we can take some of the pressure off of someone and take some of that financial burden off and be able to provide this as an ongoing service, this would be great. So we're part of that program. We have 17 families so far that are enrolled in that. And the state is really looking to us for data to say, okay, if a family can pay for their diapers, maybe they're not struggling so much to pay for gas or to pay for their food. We work with the local school systems a lot too, and 68 Hours of Hunger I think is a huge resource throughout Carroll County, and we help our local and 68 Hours of Hunger deliver those food bags to families too. Some of the other things that we do are we offer Positive Solutions, which is a caregiver program that's online, so families can learn about how do you make choices, how do you set up a routine, how do you deal with your 2-year-old who might not want to go to bed, and it really promotes that social connection between families too, so once a social service is out of their lives, they're able to have those connections. We offer a lot of play groups throughout the county too, because families were saying, particularly coming out of COVID, we're feeling isolated. Our children were born during this time. They need that social interaction. And with the funding that we're asking for towns, you're really able to provide and help us because we don't charge any of the families for any of our services. And I think it's a wonderful thing to take that barrier away to say, we can help you. It can be long-term, it can be short-term, but you don't have to worry about how you're going to pay for that. So thank you so much for your support in the past, and we do ask for level funding again for this year.
If it's a local Wolfeboro family, do you come down and provide those services down here?
We do,
Okay.
yeah. So we can meet with families either, we'll come to a place such as the library, someone's home, we can meet them outside at a park, on the telephone, or through Zoom.
Okay.
So it really is the family's comfort level, but yes, we definitely travel.
How about a phone number we can get on the air?
Sure.
Contact you.
603-447-6356.
Thank you. Any questions from anyone? See, I guess we'll move on. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Okay, let's see where we're at here. Greater Wakefield Resource Center?
No. Hello, my name is Amanda Beaver. I'm the treasurer of the Greater Wakefield Resource Center. I'm here today to ask for funding for our congregate meal program. We are a resource center and we do provide services for all age people. But what we're in need of for this year is our congregate meal program for people over 60. And what we do is we provide 3 meals a week at lunchtime where people over 60 can come, they can eat, they can
converse with their neighbors, friends, whatever. We also provide bingo on 2 days a week for this congregation. We found during COVID that being isolated at home is detrimental to the elderly, well, for everybody, but particularly the elderly. And a lot of elderly single women live alone, and it's very isolating. The congregate meals we provide are free or a donation, whichever they prefer. And this year, I believe, is probably the first year we've come to Wolfeboro asking, we ask all of the communities that have people that come to our meals for financing. And we have a formula, and the formula is based on the number of meals we serve to people from the particular towns. 6% of our meals last year were served to people from Wolfeboro. So we have figured out that it would be very nice to have a certain number to help balance our, we have some town support, some state support, and some donations, and then we have grants. So we thought we would split the town supports among the towns based on the percentage of our meals that are served to the town. Wolfeboro supplies 6% of the people that we give meals to. So we had asked Wolfeboro, I believe, for $850.
Thank you. Where do you, excuse me, where do you serve these meals?
They're served at the old Union Hotel in Union, New Hampshire. And it's to basically anyone in communities within the greater Wakefield area. We do not turn away anyone. They come from Maine, they come from Rochester, Barrington, Farmington, Wolfeboro, Brookfield, Wakefield. I think there's over 10 or 12 towns who have people that come to our congregate meals.
Do you folks go to the other communities asking for support?
Yes, we sent letters to everyone, everybody, every community that had a person come to our meals. We sent them a letter based on the percentage of the people.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? How about a phone number? So when do you give the meals, that type of thing, what days? And
We give the meals on Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and we have bingo on Mondays and Thursdays.
and this is a lunch?
It is a lunch, but it's much more like a dinner.
Okay.
It's a full course meal.
And where was that location again?
It's in Union. It's in the village of Union in the town of Wakefield.
Is that near the Railroad Museum down there?
Yes, it's right next door to it.
Okay.
Thank you.
As a matter of fact, if I might, that's why the old hotel was originally built, was because when the train stopped at Union, they built a hotel for the people to stay, spend the night.
Barney?
Yeah, just any sense of what the draw is from Wolfeboro residents to travel to Union to participate in this? Is the food better? Is it just a geographical thing, or is it a friends? They have friends that
We have some that come from Wolfeboro that have friends in Middleton, and they come together.
Like a halfway point, somewhere, yeah.
Excuse me?
Like a halfway point, like they meet halfway.
Right, or they, yes, and Wolfeboro is not actually that far from Union when you go down by Middleton route. I don't know, I like to think it's because they like our friendly personality.
There you go.
Any other questions for anybody? No. Thanks for coming in, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Have I missed anybody over there sitting, other than any other agencies?
Conservation Commission, if you're ready for me.
Come on up.
So planning and zoning,
That's for last, right?
So Conservation Commission is in the the planning and zoning tab,
Page 21.
page 21, as Mr. Crawford has indicated. This budget is an increase of 0.1% or $16 for a total budget of $22,436 as proposed.
And if anyone wants to reach us to donate a conservation easement or some land, they can call the planning office at 603-569-5970 and ask for me. Terry will get you to me. I will plug.
That's good, that's good.
How's the conservation doing in the town? How many acres we have?
Roughly around 1,000, and we actually just added a new 80-acre parcel to that, so that roughly 1,000 plus 80. Oh, and I just wanted to say thank you, John, for recognizing Sarah Silk too. By the way, she had served on the Conservation Commission for many years and was an active alternate with us. So thank you for recognizing her.
I apologize for not including
No, that's okay. Do you want me to highlight? There were a couple minor changes we had requested this year. I don't know.
Maybe just talk a little bit what you guys do so the folks understand that.
Sure. So conservation commissions were created in the late 1960s during the Governor King administration, and any municipality in the state of New Hampshire can vote to have a conservation commission. And I believe I think Wolfeboro voted in the early 1970s, and that's when the Wolfeboro Conservation Commission became established. We have a very broad mandate, which is to work to protect and advise the town on the best utilization of our natural resources. And that can mean a million different things to a bunch of different people. So we do multiple things. We're basically a land trust, so we engage in property acquisition. We can also hold conservation easements for a private landowner, for example. We have built recreational trails in town. We review wetlands permits applications anytime anyone wants to, for example, build a dock or renovate their dock, or if they want to build a structure that's within the wetlands buffer. They have to submit a permit either to the town or to the state or sometimes both. And we all then convene a quorum and we review the permit applications, and then we don't say yay or nay to anybody, but we are an advisory body. So we advise the town planning board, we advise state DES. So many irons in the fire.
Is there any big purchase that you see as far as buying land coming up in the future that you're thinking about?
Well, we generally discuss that in non-public.
That's fine. I can understand. So I think there may be.
We usually have something on the horizon.
Okay. Okay, let's get started then. 100 series? 200? 300? 400?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
John, for Lenore, 491, invasive species management. You have a list of locations where you try and take care of this invasive species. I was just wondering how you're doing it with that overall.
I feel like overall it's going very well. This past year, we actually added a property, what we call the armoring lot, which is where the MED building is. The land surrounding that has a lot of bittersweet and buckthorn and a few of the others. So we did add one property. We had also added Goodwin's Basin, which I think was not one of the original properties, but it is going well. That said, invasive species are invasive for a reason. They really are tough. They're a tough nut to crack. So this past year, we actually had to go back into town's garden and work on some of the bittersweet that was starting to come back there. Front Bay Park is doing well enough that we decided to let it lie, and also the bid came in, unfortunately, much higher than we expected. The contractor that we use, like everybody else, has raised their prices in an effort to keep up with costs. So we decided that it was okay to let Front Bay Park lie for a year because it's doing so well, but then hopefully if we get to retain this line item, we'll go back in it next year and hit it again. But it is going, if anybody's been to Front Bay Park at all this year, you can see it's changed. You can actually see the water now, and I don't mean now when the leaves are down, I mean when there's leaves on the trees and shrubs, you can actually see the water in areas that you could not see. You know, we have the ADA compliant trail there, it's called an accessible trail, and folks that were trying to use it in a wheelchair, for example, could not see the water now unless they were right down where the little spur trail is that goes down. Now they can. And we actually just sent a guy out there just to do a little post cleanup and make it look a little more attractive. You know, there's parts of it that looks kind of like, looks like a bomb went off in there because you have all these dead vines hanging down. So we're also now engaged in a post-treatment cleanup effort.
And Goodwin's Basin is Crescent Lake?
It's right, correct. It's that little, little body in between the railroad berm and the Route 28 there. So that's small. That's about 2 acres.
Good.
And for what it's worth, and this is, we're not actually directly involved in this. If anyone has been out to Sewell Woods lately, Lakes Region Conservation Trust is doing a huge meadow reclamation project out there on about 60 acres of that to get rid of the invasive species that are out there. And that is what we are trying to avoid. We're trying to get to that point. I mean, they had to go in with some heavy machinery and pretty much mow some areas down because it's gotten so bad because they let it go for so long. So we were trying to get ahead of that and get it to cut back to a point that we can manage it a little better and not have to go in with the heavy machinery. That's our goal.
Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Chief,
Excuse me, 500 series?
Mr. Chairman,
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, sir.
excuse me. A little expansion on line 291. I noticed you have the last sentence is an annual review of the management plan with consultant Lee Gilman.
Yep.
What of that $10,000 is that consultant cost?
Do you mean labor versus
No,
materials?
I'd like to know what the annual review of the management plan with consultant Lee Gilman, what are the consulting costs that are part of that $10,000?
He doesn't specify that. I think he just writes the proposal for us. I don't think he's never outlined that as a line item. You know, we just get a total bill, so I'm sorry, I don't know how to answer that.
Okay, oh, thank you.
Okay, 500 series. 600. Uh, 800. And that's it. This budget's an increase of $16. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other
We're
questions?
trying, we're trying.
Yeah, appreciate that. Any other questions, folks?
No.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Have a good holiday.
You too, thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Okay, I just want to give the public an opportunity to ask any questions. Anyone in the public like to ask any questions? Okay, apparently not.
He's with me.
Okay. Okay, that's it for tonight, I believe. Oh, we're getting some minutes, I guess. I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I think you wanted me to give a quick update on the tax rate.
That would be wonderful. Thank you for reminding me.
So let me try to get this thing active.
Hey, Jim, is it possible for you to get this into this presentation and email to us as well?
Sure.
And me as well.
It's real quick. It's 7 slides. There's really nothing that it's pirated from other places, and our data inputted into it, and or our previous slides with some notes put to it. So, setting of the tax rate. How does it happen? So this is kind of an overview really quickly of the process. Right now we're going through developing the budgets so that we can get the warrant together that outlines the proposed budget to go in front of the town for voting. We take those proposed appropriations We discussed them at our deliberative session. Last year, we heard some warrant article increases. There were some suggestions on the floor for some operating budget decreases, and the warrant is set, and the voters go forward and vote on the budget. Once the budget is voted on, the articles are voted on, we have a general idea of what the expenses, or we have an idea of what the expenses for the year are going to be. Meanwhile, we're also trying to estimate what our revenues might be for the year. And I think we all know that the estimate of revenues is really a wild card until we get to the last few minutes of the year and we get a handle on it. So as we move forward, we have to have our estimated revenues. We can do a revision based on what we see coming in. All of those documents have to be put together by September 1st so that we can work with New Hampshire DRA, work with the Board of Selectmen to be able to get a tax rate set. Meanwhile, throughout the year as well, we may be seeing some adjustments to our assessed valuation with pickups as a result of cyclical evaluations, reevaluation, new buildings coming online, that type of thing. Again, that needs to be set by September 1st. Once all of those items are put together, DRA begins to review to set the tax rate. So you may wonder, well, if all these items are due by September 1st, how come it takes 2 months to get a tax rate set? Well, there's a lot of variables that go into that with New Hampshire DRA. They can't set the tax rate until the county is set. They can't set our tax rate until the school districts is set. The school district is made up of a multiple of towns, so they have to wait on that. The other unique thing that we have in Wolfeboro is we have a village district. That village district, all those documents have to be in together and signed, sealed, and delivered so that the tax rate can be set. So as we move forward, the tax rate is set, and what's the math look like to do that? So what I found, I took the slide from the New Hampshire Municipal Association and I inputted our data that we have that created our tax rate for the year. So our gross appropriations for the year, $36,245,799. We have a pretty good handle on the estimate of our revenues of $19,876,628. So then we have to factor in an overlay, maximum of 5%. What is an overlay? An overlay is funding that we have to set aside based on the possibility of abatements that could be coming forward. We work with our assessor to determine that, and we've estimated to have an overlay of $67,296.
Quick question, Jim. That overlay is at 5% of what number there? 36 or the 19? What is what is 5% of?
I think it's the assessed valuation. Because that's what the number is based on, the assessed valuation.
Okay.
So
it's 5% of that 2,476,914.
Correct.
Thank you.
That's what I would believe. I didn't read that part of the RSA. Then we got to factor in the tax credits, veterans tax credits. As a result of that, we have a net tax effort of $16,666,117. We divide that out by our assessed valuation, dropping off to the thousandth, and that's how we get to the tax rate of $6.73 for this year. So remember, that only makes up one part of your tax bill, okay? This is pulled right from the Billing and Collections Office Tax Collector's webpage. This is what our tax rate looks like this year. Municipal tax rate, $6.73. Local school, $5.82. State school, $1.95, and county, $1.40, which makes up the $15.90 for the total tax rate. And as noted, you can see the Beach Pond District is an additional 7 cents per thousand. So, we go through a process when we're building the budget like we're going through right now, and we work through all of these numbers, and we come up with an estimate on to be able to provide to the voters at the deliberative session. So I pulled up the slide from the 2023 warrant that laid out all of our articles and what we estimated the tax rate to be. We estimated the tax rate to be $6.06 per thousand. After we went through the whole year, we ended up getting the tax rate at $6.02. So we've come pretty close to nailing where we thought it would be. So what about 2024? Well, 2024 has been a rather unique year, at least in my tenure here. First of all, the 2024 warrant, we had an estimated operating budget of $6.34 per thousand. However, we recall we're in a default budget. So that number, when we're creating this estimate, is thrown right out the window. Town road upgrades. There was a motion on the floor to increase this by $200,000. So that estimate of 29 cents per thousand, thrown out the window. Parks and Rec tractor, estimated at 4 cents per thousand, failed on the warrant, thrown out the window. Police vehicle replacement, turned down by the voters, thrown out. So we had an estimated tax rate when we went into this process last year. We sat there and told the voters, if all of these articles pass, your tax rate is going to be $7.30. That's what we told them. When we went through, we created the tax rate. We took out based on the math that I showed you previously, we had the failed warrant articles, we had increased revenues, which led to a 57-cent reduction in the estimated versus the actual tax rate. And that's how we get to this year having a tax rate of $6.73. I don't know if that's what you're looking for, John, but that's a quick overview of the process, which, as we know, is lengthy, and how we get to setting the tax rate and how the tax rate is set. Questions that I can try to answer or get you an answer for?
Yeah, I have a question, Jim. When we talk about the municipal budget, we're talking about warrant articles plus the budget, right?
Correct.
Correct, that total.
Yep. So, good point. So, when you look at the gross appropriations,
Right.
that's everything. That's everything we voted on. Now, you may be saying, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Okay?
I might be.
Why?
Well, I'm not sure. It looks like a large number compared to what the budget was plus the warrant articles.
Isn't it because of bioelectricity that we have to include that in there?
So, we include everything.
Yeah.
This is everything. This is
Not including schools, though.
not including the
Okay,
schools.
so
This
schools
is just
that's a separate-
municipal.
This is just, okay.
Just municipal. So a good example of this is last year's budget when we set it in 2023. Thank you, 3. Because we're in 3 or 4 going to 5. This number of 36 million was 50 million and some change. Why? Because we had bonds. But we had offsetting revenue from the bond
Okay.
to drive that back down, because that bond is being paid over the course of the year and is added to future debt service.
Okay, and that offset with the bond interest, whatever, is part of that 19 million of revenues? Okay, all right, good, understand.
Well,
I just, I recall that, that Hidden Valley Village District being created, and what happened with that was they actually needed a dam replacement on Lower Beach Pond. And Pete Chamberlain actually helped them set up, they didn't have a village district, an official village district. Pete Chamberlain helped them set one up, and that's what that is. So it's, Wolfeboro is a very small part of Hidden Valley. It's only about 3 streets in Hidden Valley. The rest of it, including the entire pond, is in Tuftonboro. And I'm sure they also have their own village district, but, so that's why that was created. That's why it's part of our budget now.
any other questions for Jim?
No, specifically, no, I'm gonna have to dig into it, I don't wanna take it away. I may email you some questions, Jim, just on, I think Steve requested, is it possible for you to put that in an email to us?
Absolutely.
Because that
And I'll get it to Leanne so she can.
That would be really great. That way we can all get educated.
Jim, looking at the schedule, are we gonna be online with all the dates on the schedule, laws and warrant articles and all that?
I think we are, John. I think we're gonna be in pretty good shape. The Board of Selectmen is meeting next Wednesday to discuss warrant articles, so on the 12th, I should have an idea of when we will have the warrant articles complete to bring over to you guys. So that is, I think we're in good position, John.
Okay, I was looking at the warrant article for the 3 cruisers. And I went back a few years, and I'm not seeing any savings on the fuel by that extra $10,000 we're paying for each cruiser. You know, for the hybrid or whatever it's called. If they could give some numbers on that, how much they're saving, and how many cruisers are gonna get rid of, how they're gonna get rid of them. They're gonna trade them in or put them on Craigslist. Because I know in Wolfeboro they were getting $12,000, $13,000 for trading on cruisers just like that. And sometimes you might have to go out of state to save or take in a few extra dollars. I'll try to get the name of the dealership where most of the PDs down in Mass use they can get some numbers from them maybe.
Yeah, I know we have put them out for bid a couple of times.
Yeah.
And so it would be good to get that information so we can ensure that firm has an idea of when the bids, when there are vehicles to be able to bid on.
And I'd like to know the number of cruisers they're going to end up with, whether it's 11 or 9 or what that.
I think they're planning on holding at 11, I think, but they'll be able to speak to that at
Okay,
warrant
just
articles.
give them a heads up so they'll know that.
Yep.
Anything else from anybody? Steve, you all set?
Yep.
Now? Okay.
Just a general comment, we were just talking at the start of the meeting, how our taxes have, even though the tax rate and all that, this great discussion, individually, our tax rate are averaging about 10% increase a year. That's how, I'm just looking at what I paid last year and the year before that, roughly 10% each time. So I don't know how we can, just an open question, John asked for the comment. So when I'm looking at how the budget goes forward and how it seemingly has a 1% or 2% increase, how does that translate into, like, the 3 of us having a discussion that our tax bills are anywhere from 8% to 11% higher? Don't want an answer, just throwing that out there. We just need to do our due diligence on our end.
I think that email sent us at this presentation will answer a bunch of questions.
It will.
Yeah, I got something, John. Another thing to add to that, Steve, is at the last Board of Selectmen meeting, Linda made an announcement apparently I got notification from the assessor's office that our assessed value is somewhere in the vicinity of 52 point something % of full market value. Is my number close on that?
Right off the top of my head, that sounds correct.
Yeah, I haven't, I don't think the minutes are out yet, but I gotta, I would have to take it, but I seem to remember Linda saying 52 point something. So basically, our assessed value should be between 90 and 110%, and we're at 52%. So we're close to 40% below the minimum guideline for state, from the state. So obviously that's got to get done. That's it.
I mean, I think what Steve is talking about, you know, we are seeing
More homework.
double-digit percentage increases in the budget. How do we stabilize that?
Yeah, that'd be a good way to phrase it.
Okay, you should have got the new schedule, updated schedule of the meetings, and then we'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes of November 21st, 2024.
Good job, Leanne.
Sounds like a motion to me.
Second.
You make that motion, Steve? And Bob, you seconded?
Yeah, second.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of November 21st, 2024, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any more questions from the public? No?
John?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, Bob, did you have one other thing?
Yeah, I was gonna say, oh, you're not gonna do it? That's what I was gonna remind you.
What?
You said you were gonna do something.
What, the revaluation?
Yeah.
No, that, I'm going to do that when
Okay.
general government comes in and the assessment budget comes in, so.
I don't want you to forget.
Huh?
I don't want you to forget.
How about a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, everyone, appreciate you taking the time.